Hi guys, well today we're going to be taking a look at the Phanteks Enthoo EVOLV ITX. Some of you guys may have seen its bigger brother in the original EVOLV, and off the back of the great success of this case, Phanteks have gone away, they've condensed this interesting chassis and designed something which is exclusively for the mini ITX form factor. EVOLV ITX utilises refined and elegant styling. Inside there is a well thought out design with excellent use of space and even some useful features such as a water cooling pump bracket. For the price, you're getting a whole lot of case. In the UK, EVOLV ITX is £45 for the non-windowed version, £50 for the windowed version, and then in America, $65 for the non-windowed version, $70 for the windowed version. So for those of you who are perhaps downsizing, this could be of interest. So we're now going to begin our video today, guys. Have a look at this new case. If you've got any questions, please feel free to ask away. So we'll begin at the front of EVOLV ITX, and in a similar manner to its bigger brother, the standard EVOLV chassis, we have this very distinctive styling which sets it apart from other options out there. There is this plastic fascia here which adopts a concave design and which is completely closed off, so there's no 5 1/4 drive bays on this case. And perhaps this is something that many of you favour. I know there are quite a few cases now being designed without this ability to install an optical drive, and certainly many people that I know are saying that they barely use the DVD drive anymore. Now with a firm pull, this front panel detaches from the chassis, and as you can see there, we have these 4 plastic plugs, so care really needs to be taken when you're lifting that panel off, as you don't want to snap one of those off. And underneath this, we have a dust filter, which again is detachable, and we again need to give this a firm pull. And then underneath that, we have this large 200mm intake cooling fan. Now this is the only included fan within EVOLV ITX, and so is responsible for bringing that cool air in and pushing it across the system. At the front there, we also have the ability to install 2 120 or 140mm fans or a 240mm radiator. Up at the top there, we have the front panel connectivity, which is rather sparse. So it features 2 USB 3 ports, headphone and microphone jacks, and a reset button. The top panel is again closed off and completely solid, except for this series of 4 strips which offer some ventilation. And if you wonder where that power button is, it's right here on the top panel. So if you're like me, you sometimes store items on top of your case, be careful that you don't accidentally hit that button. Moving over to the side panel, since we're reviewing the window edition, on the prominent side here we have this Perspex window, which provides you with a nice overview of the system inside. While on the reverse here, we have just a solid panel with no significant features. Both of these panels, by the way, fit onto the chassis with the assistance of 2 thumb screws on either side. So there is our test system already installed inside EVOLV ITX, and as I'm sure you're aware from the name, this case is exclusively designed for the mini ITX form factor. And we have slightly different features inside, plenty of cable management grommets dotted around. So let's move in for a closer look at the different aspects of this case. So let's begin with the power supply area. At the bottom there we have allocation for mounting the PSU. Phanteks has designed this area so that the unit will be sectioned off from the rest of the components. And inside there you have up to around 200mm for the maximum length, and that's with the hard drive cage attached. So the PSU sits on 4 rubber pads, and underneath there we have this removable dust filter. So with this handle here, you simply need to pull this back, and the case then can remain stood while we're pulling this out. So this filter will collect any dust and you can take it away and clean it. Above this there are just 2 PCI covers. Mini ITX motherboards of course only tend to really use 1 PCI Express slot, but by having 2 covers we can make use of a double slot card inside EVOLV ITX. Both covers are ventilated and they use a standard screw rather than a thumb screw. Towards the back of the case there is no rear exhaust fan included, but there is allocation for installing either a 120 or a 140mm fan. And up at the top there we have the mounting holes for 2 120 or 140mm fans, and therefore the option to also install either a 240 or a 280mm radiator. Towards the front again we have that large 200mm fan, and then this detachable folding platform which can house a 2.5-inch drive, a 3.5-inch drive, or the supplied pump bracket. Below this, over on the reverse side, there is a small hard drive cage which allows you to install two either 2.5-inch or 3.5-inch drives. And we've seen these trays before. Basically, the drive is placed into the tray and then the two clips attached to the mounting holes on the sides. And we also have an additional SSD mount on the reverse too, so you know there are plenty of storage options inside EVOLV ITX. Now the clearance options inside a case are always really important because they help to ascertain the limitations for key components. So for the CPU cooler, we can fit products with a maximum height of around 195mm, so that will pretty much cover anything currently on the market. The graphics card, it's advisable to remove the hard drive bracket initially, just so you can get it installed, but it will pop back into place once the card is in. And there is up to 330mm or 13 inches of space for the GPU, so that should pretty much cover anything, a massive wide selection of products on the market. For the water cooling options, at the top there is allocation for a 240 or a 280mm radiator, and the distance from the top of the motherboard to the case is approximately 2.5 centimeters. And at the front we can also install a 240mm radiator by removing that front cooling fan, but it would obviously reduce the size of the graphics card that you could use. Around the back there is a variety of different areas that we could measure, but the area directly next to the power supply measures 4 centimeters, which is a huge amount of space. And as you can see, it really is easy to route the cables behind the motherboard tray and keep things clean and tidy. The cable management on EVOLV ITX is a particular strong point. Right guys, well for our final clip, I'm going to power the system up, get that front 200mm cooling fan spinning, and take my microphone off and get it as close to that fan as possible, just to give you a bit of an idea as to how loud it really is. So here we go. So that in a nutshell is the new EVOLV ITX, and Phanteks certainly seem to have covered all bases with this case. You know, it looks really stylish on the outside there, and it makes use of good build quality, and throughout there we've seen that there is lots of space inside to house high-end kit, and there's really good use of space inside as well for different features. And then throughout the installation process it's been really easy to set things up, and the cable management is a particular highlight. So as always guys, the full review for this case is going to be linked on the screen and in the description. Both the article and the video should really answer any questions that you've got about this case, but if you want to know anything else, please get in touch and I'll do my best to answer any questions you've got. So thanks very much for taking the time out to watch this video today guys. Take care of yourself and I'll see you guys very soon. Excellent use of space and even some useful extras such as a water pooling pump back in.